Hello, everyone. Welcome to our next installment of our SBA Alumni Files video series. I'm Sydnie Hochstein. I'm the Director of Development here at SBA. Today, I am joined by Carmen Lux. She is a 1987 graduate of SBA Elementary School. Carmen, thanks for being here.
Oh, yeah, Sydney, thanks for having me. I'm very excited about this opportunity.
Yeah. So just to start off, tell us a little bit about your journey after SBA, your educational journey after SBA.
Yeah. Well, like a lot of St. Bernard graduates, I went to Father Ryan. And while at Father Ryan, I played same sports that I pretty much played all through elementary school too. But I played volleyball, basketball, and softball. And was fortunate enough to get to work with the coaching staff at Father Ryan, and they helped me get recruited to play at Fordham University, which was a NCAA Division I. I played volleyball and softball at Fordham University in New York.
Very
Yeah.
cool. I also interestingly played volleyball and softball in college, so
Isn't that funny?
not many people say that they do that. So that's
well, and especially now, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, we're being real. I don't know that I would even get a chance. Nowadays, competition is so different, right?
Yes,
but
yeah.
we were big stuff back in the day.
Well, great. That's awesome. So Fordham University, what did you study there? What were your interests there?
Yeah, so I was a computer science major. And it's a kind of a funny story. I fell into that. You know, it amazes me how much kids already know before they graduate high school what they want to do in college. I was bumping up against the deadline to have to declare.
Yeah.
And I came home over Christmas break and met with my Algebra 2 teacher from Father Ryan. And she basically, Mrs. Bassler, Shirley Bassler, best woman in the world. And she said, maybe you should do something with computers. I really think they're going somewhere.
Oh, very nice.
And that's why I majored in computer science. It's so funny.
Very cool. Great. So after graduating from college, take us through your career a little bit and where that, took you over the years.
Yeah. Well, I was lucky enough to get a job right out of school at EDS, and I went into their Systems Engineering Development program. It's a 2-year program where you are just immersed in business training, all kinds of skills training before you really even got to code. And then finally, at the end, if you passed all of it, which you mostly did because you had so much training, then you were assigned to your first account. And my first account was here, Saturn, Spring Hill, Tennessee. So I was really fortunate to get to work there for another 8 or 9 years, I think. Mm-hmm. And I made some just amazing lifelong relationships there. The leaders that I had there, I still talk to today, right? I still call for advice and really rely on. And I like to say I always credit EDS with making me into the leader that I was. So I then, after EDS, did a quick stint at ACS Xerox. I worked on a really large project for the state of Tennessee for about a year, I think it lasted, and then moved to what I call my second phase of my career at MDON and Change Healthcare. And this is where I really got to kind of lean into my executive leadership skills. My team sizes continued to grow quite a bit, and I continued to be promoted with more and more responsibility. And that was, really where I sort of began creating my leadership style and my leadership habits. And it was great because it prepared me very well to walk into Smile Direct Club, which was at the time a really small startup right here in Nashville. So we had a lot of just organizational infrastructure to build there.
Yeah.
Over the last 15 years, I've held 8 different executive positions in leadership and pretty much managed every software engineering role out there. I don't really have any favorites. I like them all. Yeah. And I think they're all amazing when they come together. But I'd say, ranging team sizes from 5 to over 1,000. Wow. Where I think it's really hard. Yeah. And I think one of the unique skill sets that I always bring to leadership is just a personable, people-first approach, right? I want to know everyone on my team. Mm-hmm. And then I'll get in the ditch with you, right? I will help you dig out. I will help you fix the problem. It doesn't matter how long it takes. I'm not going to ask you to do anything that I'm not willing to do. And then I think, last but not least, I'm crazy competitive. Sure, it has a little something to do with all of my sports. But I want us to beat all expectations that get set for us, right? So I'm going to help you figure out what we have to do to meet and beat the expectations given to us. And I'd say all of that sort of really inspired me starting my own company earlier this year.
Yeah. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. I loved doing all of those things that I talked about, right? And I really wanted to create a practice that gave that back to people. Performance care is really about balancing out delivery, performance, and people care. I think you can get really wrapped up as an executive leader in hitting targets and moving goals and constantly trying to drive revenue and focusing solely on just the delivery side of the house. And I saw that a lot. And I think what gets lost in there a lot of times is the actual people care and the growth and responsibility for helping your team members go where they want to go in their career.
And that's so important when you're managing a team, I imagine.
Well, yes, right. I mean, they have just as big a goals as you do, right? Like, in fact, probably bigger. I think I love watching young, ambitious, new team members come into organizations, and they're so talented, right? I mean, everyone coming out of school these days is crazy talented. But I love to be able to then work with them and kind of round out some of the softer side of the business, right? Really focus back in. I do think we've lost a little bit of that. I don't think companies spend as much time, at least with technologists, really teaching them the business. How do we make money, right? How does it come in? What happens if we miss the deadline to the business?
Yeah.
So really helping them kind of understand all the goals and objectives and all the different roles in the business is super important. It's, again, something I was really lucky to have started out with in my career.
Yeah. So you touched on starting your own business this year, which is a huge step. What was, your inspiration for taking that step and starting, Clux Performance Care?
Yeah. Well, over my years of experience in leadership, again, I watched a lot of the pressure of, there's this initiative out there, do more with less. And it's really popular in technology and in corporate America. And I think we've gone a little too far there, honestly. Teams are so lean right now. When I started my career at EDS, I had 3 leaders. I had a delivery leader, a performance people leader, and a technical leader. And now we expect one person to do all 3 of those roles. Wow. And it's really hard.
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, what ends up happening is the people care side of it, the development side of it, tends to get the lesser priority. And delivery becomes the hot thing that everybody is focused on. Mm-hmm. So what I'm really excited to try and offer now to companies is help, right? Supplemental leadership and what I call fractional coaching that assists them, partners with the leaders, and actually helps them give back to their employees the opportunity to receive coaching, to allow individuals to drive their own performance, drive their own growth, have some good checkpoints, monitor and track their progress, and really help celebrate with them, right?
Yeah.
Keep that career growth as a focal point.
Great. And how do you like it so far, owning your own company?
So owning your own company is really different than I think it's made out to be. It takes an incredible amount of self-discipline, right, and self-motivation. I think probably the hardest part for me was not having a team to get up for every day and go in, and not having kind of that constant, your schedule's just full when you're working. There's never a dull moment. And so really you then trying to have to figure out how to structure your days and plan everything is hard, but it's exciting. I am a ridiculous planner. My calendar is completely color coded.
I love that.
It's pretty bad. It helps me, right? It makes sure that I'm balancing my weeks the way I need to, and that I'm not missing anything. So
great. Awesome. So I wanted to ask, I listened to your talk at the Catholic Business League meeting a couple weeks ago, and you talked a little bit about how you balance your work and your family and, your faith. So I wondered if you could just give us a little bit of insight on how you do that successfully, how you manage all of that.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, I think the biggest key is that how success is defined by me, right?
Mhm.
My success is defined by me, not anybody else. So it really comes down to how I hold myself accountable, um, how I balance work and family and faith is going to be different from how someone else balances that.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I really have one value, one main value that I always try to live by, and that's, I could have a lot of jobs. I'm going to have a lot of different jobs. I'm only going to have one family.
Hmm.
Now, it gets frustrating at times because, I do get left behind at work at times if I can't be there, 100 hours a week. I get overlooked for different opportunities
Hmm.
because of the commitments that I make to my family at times. And that's very frustrating. But
Yeah.
I have a responsibility to show my children how to live a balanced life. And more than just tell them how to do that, I really want to show them, all the failures, all the successes,
Yeah.
all the good, all the bad, and then how do you navigate through it? I think the best lesson you can give your kids is to just show them how real life works.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a toddler, and so I'm going through that kind of
Mhm.
right now. So it's interesting to hear other perspectives on that part of it. So
There'll be sacrifices you make, but they won't be sacrifices. They'll seem like it in the moment, but you'll know they were the right decision down the
right.
road.
Yep,
So
definitely.
yeah.
Well, I was wondering if you could share maybe one or two of the greatest, lessons that you've learned so far in your leadership roles over the years.
Yes. Um, okay, so first, you never have the full story, right?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you have one
You've
side,
got
maybe
either
two.
two sides, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
you've either got two sides and the truth is somewhere in the middle,
Uh-huh.
or some very convenient facts have been left out for you to try to make decisions around. So just always kind of try to keep that lens open and thinking about that. Um, uh, you know, and then I would just always say, people don't resist change. They resist the disorientation that change causes them to feel.
Hmm.
Right. I mean, and that is something that if you can recognize that and begin to see it in your people, then you can help navigate them through it faster. Because the sooner you get somebody out of being uncomfortable,
Yep.
right, the better they're going to feel, the better they're going to react. And most of the time, the uncomfortability or disorientation is caused because they're lacking some piece of information. So you just got to figure out, what do they not have that's holding them back, that's really, causing them so much stress.
Right. Good lessons. Food for thought.
Yeah.
Okay, our next question. So, going back a little while to your years here at SBA, tell us what you enjoyed most about, your time here at St. Bernard.
Yeah. I I love the campus, right? I mean, it's one of the
Mhm.
most beautiful campuses. Now, of course, I went to the older campus and the playground was amazing. Two huge rolling hills of field, right, to just run
Yeah.
all over. But really, it was the community feel, right, that
Hmm.
you get when you just come on campus. You just, you belong.
Yeah.
The teachers, right, the Sisters of Mercy, all the teachers, they knew you.
Hmm.
They were very watchful over you. Um, and they just always made such great examples, I think, of what
Hmm.
disciplined lives should look like, balancing out work and faith, right?
Yeah.
I think they really made you believe you could do anything.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I think I get that feel here, and I've, only been here a couple of months. I'm pretty new still, but I feel that same sort of atmosphere that you did. So.
Yeah.
How do you feel the SBA, prepared you for the next phase of your life, whether that was, high school at Father Ryan, college, and so on?
So I can remember my mom talking about this all the time. One of the things she loved most about St. Bernard's was how they would teach children to love to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really hard thing to do, right? But I think there, the uniqueness there is in, it was it was based on your own learning style. It wasn't a one size fits all. So they would really push and pull you to figure out what drove your own curiosity and then help you expand, on that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a critical life role, right? To teach somebody how to be a lifelong learner is one of the best things you could give them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what St. Bernard is just really known for, in my family anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they do such a great job of.
Yeah. Wonderful. If you had to share one or two of your favorite memories from your time here, what would those be?
Yes. So it's funny. This is a funny question to me because my favorite memory at St. Bernard was either my 5th or 6th grade year when I won the Halloween costume contest.
Oh, wow.
I dressed up like R2-D2. And it was really funny because, we had to make our own costumes. There was none of this buy a brand new crazy made costume each year. We had to make our own. And so I made my costume out of one of those big, huge Glad leaf bags, but I turned it inside out. So the silver side was, showing. I wore it upside down, cut my head hole and armholes, and then tied the big opening around my knees, I guess, because it was really long. And I wore roller skates.
Oh my gosh. That's so creative. No wonder you won the contest.
I couldn't believe it. I was so excited. But what is so funny about that is it is one of the most vivid memories I have. And this past Halloween, who could have known Star Wars would come back, the way it has.
Yeah.
My little 5-year-old nephew out in Los Angeles, his mom, Adria, called me and said, Carmen, do you remember when you dressed up like R2-D2 at school? And yes, I do.
Vividly.
Yes. It's so funny.
Man, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So this is, I think, the last question I have for you, but one of my favorites, I think. What's one piece of advice that you would give to students today here at SBA or, elsewhere, other schools?
Well, obviously be kind to each other, right? It's a hard world out there. But I think also in this world of tech, one rule we have in our house is don't type it if you can't look in someone's eyes and say it face to face. Just don't hide behind technology. Technology skills are great, right? They're going to be amazing. But people skills are what you're going to need most in your adult life. And so come out from behind the screens, keep working on your human interactions, and don't ever let technology be a barrier to just having your soft skills and your people skills first and foremost.
I find that interesting, interesting advice from somebody who's, made their career in technology. So that definitely says a lot about, how those people skills are so important.
Yeah. I'd honestly say that's probably one of the things that made me stand out so much, right? Was not only did I have tech skills, but I can remember people saying, oh my God, you can't be a technologist. You can carry on a conversation.
Yeah.
That's a horrible thing, right? I'm like, yeah, most of us can. You just have to get to know us, So I always, and that's one of the things, that I work with a lot of just brilliant engineers on, is they can do it. It's just maybe not in their comfort zone. So kind of, again, figuring out, is it their personality? Is it their style of humor? What is it that we can lean into that they're comfortable with to kind of bring out those softer skills?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So this question was not on my list, but I just thought of it. I was just wondering if what's next for you and for your business, in this coming year.
Yeah. So I don't know if I can for sure say I know,
Yeah.
but what I'm what I'm working towards, again, is really partnering with companies. I have a dream. I want to look back in 5 to 10 years, probably 10. I'd like it to be 5. Um, and see inside companies a new division called performance care,
Mhm.
where we're helping to sort of balance out the leader to people ratio a little bit better. Again, not looking to go back to the 3-to-1 that I started out with,
Yeah.
but I could absolutely see a 1.25 leader to employee ratio, right?
Mhm.
Um, Again, to me, and again, I think it goes back a lot to my sports and just my competitiveness. If you can use a coach to help you develop and to accelerate your performance growth, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And the biggest reason is going to come down to most individuals can't afford it right off the bat, which is why I'm really working with companies to make that a benefit to their teams, right?
Yeah.
Give
Right.
employees the opportunity to do that on the company.
Very cool.
So,
Well, that's
yeah.
exciting, and I wish you good luck. And um, I'm sure we'll be watching to see where things go for you and everything like that. So thank you again for doing this interview with us today. It was great to meet you and catch up and hear about your life after SBA.
Thanks, Sydney. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.